According to a recent poll, Donald Trump is up 10 points on Joe Biden. I'm going to dive into this article discussing that in a little bit of detail, but make sure you do stick around because I think this potentially might be what the Democrats are going for, wanting Donald Trump to get elected come this November. Let's dive into this article right now from the epictimes.com. Former President Donald Trump has boosted his lead over President Joe Biden to 10 percentage points ahead of the upcoming elections, according to a recent poll. In a three-way contest between President Trump, President Biden, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the former president gets the backing of 40% of likely U.S. voters, according to the results of an April 29th through May 1st survey conducted by Rasmussen Reports. This is a 10 percentage point lead over President Biden, who only received 36% support. 9% backed RFK Jr. The 10-point lead is an improvement from the 6 points President Trump had in April. The way that I look at polls is they are not exactly what's going to happen, but I do think that they are a good gauge to which president is trending in popularity with the voters. So is Trump really up 10 percentage points? I highly doubt it. It's probably still going to be a pretty close race come this November. But there are some things that the Biden administration is doing that makes me think that they want Trump to get elected come this November. The biggest one being is that Biden is not moving to the middle at all. President Bill Clinton was famous for doing this for his re-election campaign in the 1990s, where he was like, you know what, maybe I'm a little bit too far to the left. Americans want me to move more to the middle. That way I am re-elected in 1996. Obama didn't do it so much so, but he was like the celebrity for the left, right? And so it didn't really matter how much he moved to the left, whether it be Obamacare and all the policies that he had in place. He was definitely the outlier when it came to having to move to the middle in order to win your re-election. But Biden isn't doing anything of this sort. Our economy is in shambles, and it doesn't seem like they're really doing much to help the economy out. Everyone is saying right now that we are potentially in stagflation. The last time that we experienced stagflation like this was in the 70s under Jimmy Carter. And then guess who ended up winning in a landslide election? President Ronald Reagan. Gas and energy prices. The EPA is going after coal power plants like crazy right now, trying to get them to shut down. Also, gas prices. Biden is doing everything he can to make sure that we are not drilling in mainly Alaska, shutting down all these federal leases to keep America from drilling, to keep those gas prices down. The border crisis. It's still crazy. Even though we have all these protests happening on the college campuses, which has taken a majority of the news, the border is still wide open. We just had a record month in February, according to this New York Post article, with a headline reading, "New monthly record for migrant encounters set at U.S.-Mexico border in February." Now, I know this is in March of 2022, about a month and a half ago, but it still shows that the border is still crazy. Since then, we might have not seen the news because of all the college protests happening, which has taken up the majority of the news stories. The nation's besieged southern border set a record for February migrant encounters with 189,922 attempted crossings as officials brace for an expected spring surge, according to new Customs and Border Patrol data. The figure eclipses the prior February record of 166,010 encounters set in 2022, 156,000 during the same month last year. The tallies include Border Patrol apprehensions and encounters at official ports of entry, but does not include an estimate of the number of migrants who cross the southern border undetected. Another big one is that Biden is unwilling to condemn these Hamas supporters who are on the college campuses. You can sit here and say all day long, this is their First Amendment right for freedom of speech, but that has nothing to do with the violence that we are seeing. The fact that they are keeping Jewish students from attending class.
You guys have closed the entrance. We are UCLA students. I have my ID right here. I'm being blocked off, not by the security guard, but by you two. You three. Oh, look, they're making their burger while I'm going this way. Excuse me. This is what they do. Everybody, look at this. Look at this. I'm a UCLA student. I deserve to go here. We pay tuition. This is our school. And they're not letting me walk in. My class is over there. I want to use that entrance. Well, I can't take it. Will you let me go in? This can be over in a second. Just let me and my friends go in to class.
We're not engaging with that.
Then you can move. Will you move?
We're not engaging with that.
Okay, we're going. We're going. I'm going in. I have my hands up. I'm not hurting them. I'm not hurting them. That's what they do. That's what they do, everybody.
And much of the violence that these protesters are committing. Check out this clip right here.
Some holding makeshift shields cut from trash cans. One protester almost almost making it past the police tape, as you can see here, before being tackled and detained by officers.
Now, there is something that piqued my interest as well, too, that Biden did do. He initiated this when he first got into office, but it might be that long-term plan of winning the White House in 2028, where he knows that Trump is going to win this November, and so he's doing everything he can to make sure that the swamp is intact in the event that Trump does get in come this November. Real quick, guys, I will get back into this conversation, but first things first, if you do love this content or if you do want to follow along, kind of see what I ramble about in any future events to come, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button, maybe give me a thumbs up, notification bell, that way you're notified every single time that I put out a new video. Let's get back to this topic right now. This is an article from CNN with a headline reading, Biden administration bolsters protections for federal workers getting ahead of potential Trump moves. The Biden administration has finalized a new rule bolstering protections for career federal workers, making a move to preemptively halt or significantly slow any efforts by former President Donald Trump should he win in November to reduce or alter the federal workforce. Today, my administration is announcing protections for 2.2 million career civil servants from political interference to guarantee that they can carry out their responsibilities in the best interest of the American people. The biggest problem that Trump had when he was elected in 2016 was how deep the swamp actually was in the federal government. Now with his second term around, is he going to be able to take that on? I really don't know. Let's hope so if he does get elected this November. But Biden is doing everything he can to make sure that he deters that from happening so that in 2028, if they do win, they still have some of that swamp in place. Now, you might be saying to yourself, though, Trump's going to undo everything that he can that Biden did do during his destruction of those 4 years. The Democrats are not going to lie down these 4 years, guys. There's so many things that they're going to do if he is elected this November to keep him from performing as the president. Ultimately, I think the Democrats' main focus this November is to make sure that they get back the House. They don't even mind that they lose the Senate and the presidency as long as they take control of the House so they can start all the impeachment proceedings, so they can put together all these committees to put as many obstacles in the way of a Trump presidency as possible. Also, with the mainstream media complex that the Democrats have in place, they are going to do everything that they can to turn Trump into a dictator. If there are mass deportations, or if there are any type of centers where they do hold these migrants before deporting them, they are going to be calling them concentration camps and then coinciding Trump's name with Hitler. Look at him. He is forming these concentration camps. He is a dictator. This is why we do not elect Republicans into the presidency. If Trump does succeed in firing many who are in the swamp, they're going to say, look at him, he's a dictator. He's putting his will on the federal government, removing anyone who does not go along with the agenda. They're going to do everything they can to smear campaign the living crap out of a Trump presidency if he does win this November. Now, let's discuss why I think the Democrats are actually rooting for Trump to win come this November. The Democrats are focused on 2030. You might be saying, but yeah, the election's in 2028. Yes, I understand that. 2030 has significance to the far left, though. They mention it many times, whether we're talking about the World Economic Forum, the UN, they all have their eyes set on 2030. What else happens in 2030? We have another census. Even if Trump is successful in deporting many of these illegal immigrants, they just need probably about half, if not a third, in place to do what they can to either get them into those census numbers or push for mass amnesty. This is going to be the end game for the Democrats. If they can get all those people that did come into the country illegally to then vote for Democrats for the next couple decades, they are going to have ultimate power, and this is their plan. One thing that I can say the Democrats do very well is they have always had a great long game. They always look to the future. So even if they lose a few battles here and there, ultimately they're looking into the future for the total win of taking over America and changing America from what it always has been. They do a great job on this, and Republicans are always playing defense, not ever able to have that long-term goal of what they can do to further America and its success. The other thing the Democrats are great at is the sleight of the hand. They're almost like magicians, where they always set these props up where it's like, all right, let's focus on this right over here. While on the back end, they're doing everything they can to move their agenda forward in the dark, in a closed room, right? And so who's to say what that is? It might be Ukraine. It might be a few other things where the Democrats are hyper-focused focus on this, it might be the Trump trials. We're like, you know what, yeah, check this out, see what's happening with Trump right now. At the same time, you're not going to know what we're doing on the back end. The Democrats are amazing at deception. They're amazing at making the American people think that this is what you need to focus on, when in reality, they're doing so many things to destroy this country on the back end. Ultimately, this is all my own prediction. And then what we've always seen Democrats and who they are great at moving this country further and further to the left. Could you imagine 10 years ago talking about the fact that children can pick which gender that they are? Whichever they are born with, that's just your biological gender. But if you decide that you want to be a girl, then you can be a girl. If we would have talked about this 10 years ago, Americans would be like, what the hell are you talking about? 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 does not equal 5. The Democrats are great at the long game. And that's why I think that their sights are set on 2028 more than this 2024 election. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate it so much. Please make sure you do follow along. Maybe give me a thumbs up on this video, and I will catch you on the next one.